ఈవిడ మర్వే ఒజరన్. ఈవిడ లండన్‌లో సైకాలజిస్ట్. ఈవిడ దేహంలో ఆధ్యాత్మిక జాగృతి జరుగుతోంది. ఈవిడ చాలా మంది క్లయింట్స్‌తో చాలా ఏళ్ల మీదుగా ఆధ్యాత్మిక వైరాగ్యం, తర్వాత ఆధ్యాత్మిక జాగృతిలో వచ్చేటువంటి ఆందోళన లేదంటే పానిక్ అటాక్ అని అంటాం చూడండి. అంటే భయభ్రాంతులు అవ్వటం కొన్ని కొన్ని దశల్లో వీటన్నింటి మీద ఈవిడ ఆహ్, బాగా అవగాహన ఉంది ఈవిడకి. ఎందుకంటే చాలా మంది క్లయింట్స్‌తో ఈవిడ మాట్లాడి ఉన్నారు. ఈవిడ దేహంలో గూడా జరుగుతోంది కాబట్టి, ఈవిడకి ఈ విషయం మీద బాగా అవగాహన ఉంది. అయితే ఈరోజు ఈవిడ ఈ ఆధ్యాత్మిక వైరాగ్యం, తర్వాత మనం ఆధ్యాత్మిక ప్రక్రియలో పడేటువంటి మానసిక ఆందోళన మీద వీటి గురించి మాట్లాడటానికి వచ్చారు. ఈ ఇంటర్వ్యూ మీకు ఇంగ్లీష్‌లో ఉంది. కానీ నేను తెలుగులోకి అనువాదం చేసి స్క్రిప్ట్‌లా పెట్టాను. కాబట్టి మీరు తెలుగు స్క్రిప్ట్ చదువుకుంటూ గూడా వీడియో ఫాలో అవ్వచ్చు. What anxiety is, how is it different from depression, and where does trauma actually, at what point of anxiety or depression does the trauma really, we feel it? At what point do we feel it very strongly within us?
Okay, so I see anxiety as calling of our soul. It may not be for everyone. When the anxiety just goes to really unmanageable point for someone, we might start questioning life. Not everyone questions. Even many people can have an anxiety for whole their life, right? But if the person, maybe the soul is mature enough, I don't know, I'm still trying to understand this whole point, but they can start questioning because they had enough of anxiety, just like I had, because I had really, really high anxiety in my past. I had a panic attack, so I was like, I cannot live this life in this way. I feel like I have to stop it. Only then I start questioning my life and asking, who am I and why am I experiencing all those feelings? You know, that was like a gateway for my spiritual awakening, definitely. That was like a big, big thing for me. But like I said, it might not be the case for everyone. But if the soul is also ready and if they're having this huge feeling of anxiety, when it both combine, it can be spiritual awakening beginning. This is what I understand. And also depression is when we don't feed our soul, when we don't create anything. If we are not satisfied with the life that we created, our soul become depressed, or many other psychological problems. If we don't listen what our soul is feeling, it can be come up as anxiety, depression, OCD, any kind of stress related thing, or even physical illnesses. If you don't listen them, it can come up and starts to show up itself. Be like, I want you to see me. And when we are just more aware of them, we start healing that part of ourselves. We feed our soul, heal our depression as well.
So to summarize what you've said, you're saying that the unhealed aspects within you are crying out. They want you to know that they exist within you. And that in itself, you know, the knowledge that this is there within me is a kind of release. Is this what you're saying, or is there further need of working on others to release the stuck trauma or the stuck anxiety within us?
Okay, so I can talk about my clients. When a person is coming to me about anxiety or depression, okay, they just focus on this specific result of what they have. They be like, I am so depressed, or I am so anxious, and they want to just get rid of it. But this is just a result. So what we all need to do is work with our traumas, work with our memories, which is in the back of our mind. Usually we are not aware of it. I understand now with you, since we've been working with you for some time. Only when the person is ready to ask this kind of questions, then our subconscious mind starts opening up. Then we can only then really work with those memories. Because there are so many different clients that are coming to me. Some is more able to see those memories, but some of them, they cannot see it. Even though we try hypnotherapy, we try to go there, they block themselves. If they're not ready for this adventure, they're not able to really go there and really deeply heal that part, which is also okay. I see that everyone has a different time frame, but if the person is really willing to it, then we start really going for this whole memories, and we need to work with one by one. Only then, after some point, I feel like we can start experiencing the spiritual awakening. But to achieve that, we need to do lots and lots of work. At least this is what I experienced, and this is what I see from my clients as well.
What are the other symptoms associated with anxiety and depression, apart from the mental changes that happen within us? What are the other aspects? How does it impact our life in general, the physical health? How does it reveal itself to us?
When the person is coming to me, they think like, okay, I'm stressed, but they might not be aware that they are having anxiety. Then I ask them a couple of questions. But even before I ask them, I see how they talk. I see how they approach to therapy or getting to know themselves. When they are talking so fast, or when they are jumping from one topic to another, even these two things can be a really big sign for me to understand they are likely to have anxiety. And then I see that they are not willing to go with the flow of life. They are more into quick, fast returns. They just want to come and do only one or two therapy sessions or a couple of therapy sessions and have a big, huge change. I think those people, I always tell them and mention about the process. We aim to just calm them, so increase their more feminine energy and, being more able to embrace the journey. So this is what I'm trying to teach them.
What do you mean by increasing feminine energy?
When people are more in their masculine energy, they are more problems focused or solution focused. But when we are more tuning into living life, even though we don't have a return, if we just put some effort into something, we become more relaxed. But when the person is so result focused, then they have more anxiety. They just want to be perfect. They just want to control all the outcomes. So even by calming them, that also creates this change between more masculine to feminine energy as well.
Are there expectations from life unrealistic?
Yes, more unrealistic than people who feel more balanced. Yeah, I mean, it's okay to dream big, this is whole another thing. But when we are not really understanding to ourselves, to our own nature, then they feel like everything is going towards them. Like nothing is working out.
Yes. Yes. So, do necessarily all of these people have some trauma in their past, or can we even have these symptoms without having any real trauma in this life?
So when we say trauma, it can be either like a big traumas and small long-term wounds. We can also call them trauma as well. But some of them is bigger, some of them is smaller. We usually have combined this both two. So yes, we need to have some kind of wounds, and I think everyone has, but not many people really realize it. When I started my own journey, I thought I only had, one or two things I need to work on. And when I just work on it, then I understand that, well, I had lots and lots and lots of it. The more I heal, the more I see my wounds. And it's a whole continuous journey. So we all have it. Yes. So in order to have this anxiety and depression, and we need more of it, definitely. We need more of neglected parts.
So what exactly is the difference between people who are having anxiety and depression as a kind of fallout with life, and who are having this because of a spiritual awakening process? What is the difference in both of these types of anxiety and the depression?
If the person is willing to go deep within themselves, if they have this big fire within themselves, they see it, they realize it, they seek help, or they do lots of research and they start healing themselves. But the other person who has anxiety, they might live with it. They don't have this big fire of seeking answer within them. Your question.
You're right. Because when somebody has a spiritual awakening process, or when they're having depression or anxiety, which will lead to a spiritual awakening process, the inherent need to move towards their inner authenticity is very high in this. Because they're not authentic, not being authentic can cause a lot of anxiety, a lot of stress in the body. Because the soul is well developed within them. And if they're not expressing their soul quality in their day-to-day, their engagement with people or their work activities, the kind of work they do, it goes against the very fabric, the ethical and moral fabric, and they can't handle it.
Yes.
And that is where the motivation to go within, to understand oneself, gets so strong that it will take them towards enlightenment. Whereas when somebody is just coming for a quick fix, maybe they feel that with this they might improve better in relationship with others, or maybe because it has become a work hindrance, they're not able to work properly because of their anxiety, they're not able to sleep. That person, for him or for her, it is just reaching a level of comfort zone from where they can live life comfortably. So they're necessarily not seeking spiritual enlightenment here. So what you said is similar to how I look at the thing.
Let's say, if I have a woman client, anxious, I also ask them like how they interact with their partners, with their loved ones, if they really allow to receive love or support from their family or from the environment. And usually it's the opposite. As a woman, if the person is not allowing themselves to find this feminine energy within them and allow to receive even from their loved ones, it also creates this anxiety for themselves as well. If the person is not really balancing these two energies, so it also creates this friction within them as well.
Okay. Oh, wonderful. Yeah, I totally agree with you here, because nowadays even men and women are mostly in their masculine energy more than the feminine side. So there is a need to come back or connect with the feminine energy. And when we connect with the feminine energy, we learn to live in flow with life. And the anxiety and that unnecessary, the expectations we have from ourselves, from life, the goals which are unrealistic, all those things, they go away from our life slowly. Because we're reconnecting with the feminine side. Because mostly people are in competition with others, this constant competition, the lack of the self-worth. And it is very easy to lose your confidence when you're bombarded with a lot of these images and data from the online platforms where you see the perfect person, the most beautiful person, and then you start comparing yourself with that person. Or you see somebody, or maybe a relative or friend is buying a car, and then we realize that maybe, we have not done so well in life. So all these things, it keeps us in our masculine drive, both men and women. But when you understand that all these things really don't matter, because they all are not part of your authentic self. They are there for the external world, and you need it. At a physical level, you need comforts in life. But then those comforts should not control you. You should control them. So when the material things or the images which we build in our life or past traumas, maybe somebody in the past has, called this person some names, they've told them that they're good for nothing. They had a major jolt to their self-confidence. Those things keep on going in their head. When they realize that all these things are just keeping them frozen in those moments, frozen in these unrealistic expectations from life, where they are either living in the past in those frozen moments where the voices of people who tormented them, they're still running in their heads as negative loops. It's like this person is living in their head rent-free, constantly, pulling them down. And they don't know how to expel this person from their head. It is very difficult to remove that person from their head. It is just the past pain coming back and coming back again, because we are not able to transmute that pain into something higher within us. Until we cannot resolve that issue, we cannot gain clarity. We will not understand, or we cannot access that soul which is there within us. It's something like, the essence of us over many lifetimes, if you call it a soul and say it is here, it is your higher intuition, your guidance. So the person who is caught up in these cycles of pain and trauma, who's trying to break free through them, it is only when you break free through them that you can connect to your higher aspect within you. And this is a kind of a direct connection where now you are no longer connected with your lower self. The transition, when it is happening, a lot of dense thoughts, dense emotions within you have to go away, because they keep you frozen in your past. And when you have anxiety for future, there are parts of you which are frozen in the future. So you are like swinging back and forth in time, whereas you have to integrate everything into the present. And when you come into the present moment, you come out of anxiety, you come out of depression. So the way I see it is that spiritual depression is your body calling out. And like you said, the body needs a lot of rest. The kind of rest where, you go to sleep and you wake up, you still don't feel that you have had your sleep. You feel like, I still need to sleep. I'm tired. I'm tired of life. I'm tired of playing the game of life. That is the kind of tiresomeness that we experience. And that tiresomeness, it drives us to change ourselves, to look within, remove anything that is there within us which does not allow us to connect with our authenticity. Until we have removed away everything, all that things which are not knowledge, they are, the kind of things that will pull us down in consciousness. Until we have removed everything, the voices in your head can go on, and they can create anxiety, they can create depression. So in a way, this entire activity, it is forcing you to heal yourself. It is telling you outside things are not important. What is important is what is happening inside of you. Look within. See me, I am there here. You need to heal me. You need to address me. Because as long as I am there, you cannot connect with your authenticity.
Yeah, when you are just mentioning it all, I'm thinking one of the most important that we need to address is our automatic negative thoughts. Many of us doesn't know how to deal with negative thoughts. We think that it's real. One of the best way to deal with it is learning mindfulness meditation, I think. When we are just watching the thoughts as it is, as like a watcher from outside, just like how we watch the motorway, watching these cars, how it comes and goes. If we are not just fighting with them or stopping the car, they will just move away. But what we do is we kind of throw rocks or we try to stop the car and argue with them and saying that, why are you passing from here? But in reality, they are just passing from there. So if we approach our thoughts in this way, if it becomes like a habit, then we can feel like we are more in balance over time. This is really important. And also, the things that we eat is also important. When we are doing intermittent fasting, the longer we do, the clearer our mind and the less anxious we are, less depressed we are. And also the foods that we ate. When we are just eating processed foods, simple carbohydrates, sugars, we lose our balance. So it's not only the anxiety and depression is not only about in our mind, but it's all about the mind, body, and soul. We need to look for our food. We need to learn how to manage our negative automatic thoughts. And also we need to work with our memories as well. And if we do yoga, breath work, that will be also great. You are consciously breathing deeply. Let's say 4 seconds inhaling and 4 seconds exhaling. So, because we have more oxygen to our body and to all of our organs and our mind, your consciousness even increases. Your serotonin hormones, your happiness hormones increases. You become more aware being. You can take actions more consciously, have a healthier decision making. All those things can add up and create the life you want to have, and you can feel more balanced and also really help with your spiritual awakening journey as well.
Yeah, that was helpful. So what you say is that when you make conscious choices in life, conscious choices which align you to the higher intelligence within you, the chances of us experiencing anxiety diminishes. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, exactly. Okay. So I see that many people doesn't have these tools. They might hear it from somewhere, but they don't really put it in their toolbox and use it when they need to. Create really healthy routine throughout the day. Then when we are just feeling we are out of balance, with a little help, we can find more balance within. But if you don't use it, we are going out of balance so much, and we need to make an effort to go into balance that much. Okay. So if you just create this routine, it will be much easier.
Some people take a lot of unnecessary risk in life. So does that also affect the anxiety within them?
Yes. So, for example, I can just give you one person. Yeah, he was doing lots of gambling and he was taking actions without being conscious. It was more like instinctive actions. So when we are getting driven within our animalistic tendencies, obviously we will stay more in our sympathetic nervous system. But all we need is to actually switch into parasympathetic nervous system. And only then we can feel more balance. So when we are taking any action, any dramatic, fast, big risks, big money, big joy, big pleasure, these are all lead us to stay in more lower frequencies. And when we just calm ourselves, think it long term, stay more in balance, doing things consciously, belly breathing, slowing our life. Yeah, you can keep the pleasure, but more in balance.
More in balance.
Yeah.
Interesting insight that I just got in this meeting is, when somebody is not living consciously, they will create anxiety for themselves and for people around them. Okay. And when we at a higher vibrational state, we are undergoing a spiritual awakening process, right? Though we are very responsible, we are trying to make those conscious choices in life, we still experience anxiety at that level. So what is the difference between this anxiety and that anxiety?
Okay, so the person who's going through spiritual awakening and having anxiety is like subconscious mind is so open, and normal people doesn't even aware of their subconscious mind and the feelings and the thoughts, but that person is more aware, and it's much harder to deal with it. It's like the process has to be faster. We need to process things faster, the way we eat, the way we breathe. Everything has to be more intact in order to feel more balance. But if the person is not even there, they're leading with the urges, more instincts, they wouldn't even see the deeper core problems.
Yes, exactly.
It's like there's a big layer here. They are only aware of this part. But
so they're just basically reacting to life. When they gain something, they're happy. When they lose something, they're crying. When they are, in the lower self zone. But when we are taking more responsibility for our life, and at the spiritual awakening process, when you reach a point there, I think our nervous system is getting so fine-tuned there, because layers, like you said, layers are opening up. Okay, and lot of stuff which is there is coming out, and that can cause a lot of anxiety, because you have to work through all that stuff to reach your higher self or to reach the enlightenment, which is what is the goal of the spiritual life that we take on. A very interesting answer.
In the spiritual awakening part, this subconscious and unconscious levels becomes more transparent, more seeable, but others is still so dark. So when you see it, it's harder to not see it, right?
About postponing gratification and staying in that place where earlier you would run away from. So it's all about standing your ground, making that resolution to change, to face life, and not to run away from it. And so basically what you're saying is, people should not escape from the situation. They should learn to face the situation. And will that help in getting them out of negative loops of thinking?
Yes, it can really help.
Okay.
But that's the thing, many people need support doing that. If the person is feeling alone, if no family support, no friends or partner support is there, and they don't have enough knowledge about psychology and how they can look within, because they don't have a thing that they can look within. They don't have this kind of term. They think they are only physical. It's really hard.
So in a way, anxiety or depression is that you have not discovered yourself. When you discover your core, When I'm talking in terms of spiritual awakening process and not those, normal anxiety issues. I'm not talking about that. So when you have this prolonged anxiety and when you're having a spiritual awakening process, so when you're still not there, in a way, you're disconnecting from the lower aspects. You're letting go of everything you knew you were. You're leaving away all that, but you have not found what you are at a higher level. So I think in between that, there is a lot of anxiety, uncertainty. You're not grounded. There is no clarity in life. We don't know which way we are heading. We seek purpose. We are seeking here. We are seeking a higher mission. We are seeking a higher purpose in life, a connection with, something higher, maybe the God or a guru. It's like we are in this uncertain, dark place where we have let gone of everything we thought we were, but we've still not found what we are at a higher level. So we are somewhere hanging in between here, and then that can create a lot of stress, a sense of not being safe. I think it's linked to not being safe also. And I say this because time my Muladhara chakra got activated in the process, in the Kundalini awakening process, at a particular point when there was some change happening in my Muladhara chakra, I just, I was sitting, I was just reading a book or something. I suddenly stood up and I said, I am safe, I am safe. And I did not realize I was saying it. And then I was surprised, why am I saying this? Is that all my life did I feel unsafe? Yes, I had a lot of anxiety. I had a lot of spiritual depression in my own awakening process. But then maybe that was the closure of that depression or that anxiety. After I've said that, I've not felt depression or anxiety. Like I've moved beyond that. I'm in this state of a kind of a happiness now. So maybe this crossover from the normal human life to a higher spiritual life, that crossover has to happen. And when we are crossing over a lot of inner insecurities, inner pain, all that we think we were, we have to remove it from our system before we can go to that space.
Yes.
And I think there's a strong connection between anxiety and the person not feeling safe. It is just that the person is feeling so unsafe that it is getting expressed in many different ways. The risk-taking behavior, their impulsive behaviors, they're constantly going back to the same attachment styles, the same dysfunctional relationships, where I think this everywhere the person is seeking some kind of safety and fulfillment. When we are seeking fulfillment in the wrong places, we will not get it and we get anxious. And I think the safety aspect within us is more like the grounding energy, the feeling at being at home in where you are in that particular, space, in that particular time when you feel like I have to be here, that's all, and nowhere else. You're totally present there. I think that is where you're safe. The realization comes, and that puts an end to all the anxiety, all that depression which we had. Because all that brings us into the present moment. And when we move into the present moment, there is no more anxiety, no more depression. So maybe we need to undergo this turmoil before we can come into a level of grounding and self-awareness, which is a constant thing in action thereafter in life. Like you will always be in a number of present moments and not living from your past or in your future. I think that is where the spiritual anxiety and depression takes you. It's just your inner calling to heal yourself.
When I'm looking and working about anxiety, I think it's important to look really deep within our childhood as well. Some of us has safe environment when they are growing up. But if they are constantly grow up with stressful environment, the family, with full of arguments, and then our brain becomes more sensitive, and we are kind of always stay in sympathetic nervous system and always looking for the dangers, and that also lead us having more traumas, seeing the situations as more traumatic. Then we can have more likely to have anxiety or depression as well. Maybe during our last lifetimes, is it possible that we have more rougher childhood? Then we feel like I need to break this cycle. We do so much deep research, and then we might start having spiritual awakening. I was wondering about it.
See, as such, the soul, let me put it this way: we exist at the stomach level as this individual being who's caught up in cycles of life and death. At the heart level, it is our individual consciousness. That individual consciousness is perfect. It is a perfect state. Okay, and here is your higher self. So when the soul is having many lifetimes, it creates an essence. And that essence is here as the form of the inner guidance, the higher self. It is that person at a higher level operating from here, the level of the universal mind. So when we have reached a level of that essence within us, and the soul is formed, it wants to express itself. Until the soul is not well formed, or it cannot express itself, the authenticity is not yet formed, you cannot connect with your higher self. These people cannot listen to any inner voice. They have no discretion. They are caught up in addictions because there is no inner voice telling them to wake up. So when this inner voice is well formed within us, now is the time for this person operating in the lower egoic state to wake up. It's a wake up call. Get up. You have had many lifetimes. Okay. Now, whatever you thought you were, you are not that. So disconnect from it. That essence has got formed. Until the essence has got formed, you will be caught up in cycles of life and death. That is called soul maturation. So then once the essence is formed, we try to connect with the inner essence. And once, the energy is working predominantly in this area, you have come out of all your lower egoic self, these stories, the ideas, everything is given away. You're no longer that person. You don't identify with that person anymore. You reach that state in your life. After that, you connect with your heart. This is the place where your individual consciousness is there. And the individual consciousness is always perfect. It is so perfect that there is no imbalance in it. It is because it is just the spark of the divine. You are the spark of divine at this point. So the entire process where we talk about achieving balance and all that is just to be able to get in touch with your higher self or the higher mind within you. And thereafter, from the higher mind, you were able to get in touch with your inner individual consciousness. And here it is not about changing, it is all about releasing everything which is ignorant. The more you release the baggage, the more you are moving in alignment first with your soul. And from this level, you have to release many more things. It's not just by reaching here, the process is over. No. Their judgments, core pains, core issues at the level of the heart also, they get released. When all those layers get released, you're already moving into bliss states and you start feeling very safe that you will let go of your body, will allow the energy to work on you. So the anxiety is not experienced. And then from there on, you reach the conscious state of experiencing your inner individual consciousness. And that consciousness, it is a perfect state. You are in sync with the universal energy. You become one with the universal energy. And that aspect within you is changeless. It is irreducible. It is no different from the divine. It is the witness state where you're just witnessing life. You're no longer getting, investing unnecessary, creating unnecessary drama for yourself in life, or investing your emotions or thoughts into lower aspects of life. So this is a state which everybody wants to achieve in the spiritual process. That is there within you already. It is only thing is we're disconnected from it. And all this is a part of reaching it.
So you say that it's not about how our childhood is. It's all about the soul's maturity, and once it's activated, because someone can have much worse childhood, but they can still not able to activate it. It's not related with that.
Let me put it this way. Many have spiritual awakening from trauma also. There is no one way to have a spiritual awakening. When the soul is well formed, awakening happens. Even trauma can cause it. A good thing can cause it. A guru will appear and do it. Or you go to some place and you get initiated by some deity that is there. Or somebody in your dream space will come and initiate you. It is because you're ready for it. So, once you are ready, the external factors come into place to take you towards spiritual awakening, no matter which path you are in or where you are in your life. You could be caught up in trauma, you could be having a happy-go-lucky life. Okay, you could be some negligent person, who's just gambling life away, but maybe they are just clearing away last bits of karma which is within them. Maybe part of their ancestral karma, they're healing it away. And once that cloud of that, addiction just moves aside, immediately they can see the light within themselves. They're ready for the evolution.
Okay, so we cannot really look for only this lifetime, because we might have millions of lifetimes. It's just a speck, just little, so it wouldn't make sense to look only for the, yes.
And moreover, the core issues which I've seen after speaking to a lot of people is that the core issues are that you are not able to express yourself, your needs are not met, you don't feel safe, you felt you were used and abused. The core issues, the story changes, circumstances change, but the core issues is the same for everybody. There's few core issues. Fear of the unknown. And that one core issue can express itself in many different ways. For example, fear of unknown. This person will have survival issues because he'll be worried whether, he can keep his job or not, whether he can earn tomorrow or not, because he does not know that he has a survival issue at the core. Or he might, watch some ghost movies, he cannot sleep, he's fearing that ghost will come and, haunt him. It again goes back to how safe you are or your survival issues. Or, the basic core fear, it goes there. So the core issues are common amongst everybody who have trauma, anxiety and all those things. But then the way these core issues get expressed in our life, the way we experience it is again linked to our stories. The inner storyteller takes that core fear, and there is a story that is running in your life. It is mixed together, and that is where it is complicated. Now we are looking at the surface level and we are thinking that we are fearing somebody, or maybe your boss is causing the anxiety, or maybe the marriage is causing the anxiety. But, even if you remove the boss, the spouse from the life, maybe they find a comfort zone for some time, but again the anxiety will catch on with them, because the root cause of the anxiety is very deep inside. The person never felt safe. Or at a point in a spiritual awakening process, you need to feel safe. And that safety happens when you have the right hormones releasing in your body. So in a phase of the spiritual awakening process, we are not having the right hormones releasing in our body. Hence, we have this anxiety, depression, and we need it in the process to change us. Thereafter, when the right hormones get released in our body, when we reach a higher vibrational state, you will notice that all those things just move away from your life. All those things which tormented you for decades, they just move away as if they were never there.
Yes, that was so helpful.
Thank you, Mabe, very much for coming on to my channel and sharing your insights. And if possible, later on, we will have another round, another session where we can talk about other interesting topics.
Thank you.
Namaste.
Thank you. Namaste. Bye.